So good afternoon. My name is Tannar and I'm from Mobire Group. And I will not tell you about IT in a theoretical manner today. It's more important for businesses to know how we use IT for our processes. How about the business rules, how things are moved around in-house? And so how do we work? So let's look into one of the most important solutions that we use in our company. So the cost entry, how does it end up at the customer's invoice? But first, a few words about Mobire and a few figures. So we want to offer full service rent for our customers. It means that the customer doesn't have to worry about anything, purchasing the car, exchanging the tires, dealing with the insurance company if needed. So we have more than 5,000 cars in our fleet, and it means we sell about 1,200 vehicles every year. We sell 800 cars every year. And Mobire's market share is 5% of purchasing large cars. We acquire about 11,000 tires every year, and we have about 1,500 insurance cases. Last year, we were the biggest car taxpayer in Estonia. Well, in a global context, these figures are quite small, but we are not that big a company either. We have 60 people working for us, and therefore we really have to make sure that our business processes are fast, scalable and efficient. As the head of IT, my objective is not to write software as much as possible, but to make sure that the business processes are functioning well, that they are fast, and that Mobire and the customer really benefit from it. Especially within our team, in-house, it's important to know that the coding isn't something that makes us a winner. Instead, it's all about the processes in-house, how efficient they are. We don't have to write codes ourselves. If we have a ready-made product available on the market, we can take use of it, and we can even adjust our processes to fit the software. We really want to focus on the processes which benefit us most, that create the most added value for us. And therefore, automation is important to us. If you ask where the sales invoice starts from, it would make sense to answer that it's a contract with the customer, because this is where you have the terms and conditions and the monthly payment for the customer. But before our system generates a new invoice for the customer already can see an open invoice. It means that the supplier invoice is the first step. We have quite a number of perhaps maintenance costs, fuel costs on the open invoice already. And these charges will be forwarded to the customer, and our job is to link these costs with a particular customer and to decide whether this particular cost is already included in the monthly fee or do they have to pay extra for it. So let's take a look at a cost entry. How does the process look like? So for us, the first input is the supplier invoice. We have about 2,000 such invoices every month. It includes about 20,000 entries. We have different formats that these inputs come in, e-invoices, PDF, CSV, Excel files. And then we see our first problem. Sometimes it's not enough for us to have the invoice that has been submitted to us. It might have the total. And when we talk about electricity consumption, for example, it says 22 kilowatts, 200 units, but we are really interested in greater detail. And on a PDF, it's quite easy. You have the total entry, and then you have the appendix to the invoice, which details all the data that we need. But on the other hand, there might be discrepancies with the Excel or CSV files. With the providers of fossil fuel providers, it's easier because their different formats match, or the structure is the same in different formats. So what do? The suppliers who don't submit these important details for us on an invoice, then we have to log into their platform, or we receive these details by email, and then we add the necessary entries to the purchase invoice, and then we can link it to a particular car. Now, reading the data, what is the current situation? Mostly in Estonia, we have the XML invoices through e-invoices, and there's another perhaps 10% that need to be digitalized. In Latvia and Lithuania, it's different. So we have to digitize about 100% of invoices. In Lithuania, it has been made obligatory to submit the invoices now to the public authorities. And Latvia is working on it. I think it's started this year. So now again, it's time for us to contact our suppliers and ask them to send us e-invoices as well. On the right-hand side, I have an example of a PDF invoice from Latvia. So for us, it's not important which language has been used on the invoice, but what we do need to understand is not only the total amount, but all the cost entries, so that we know how to classify it, and so that we know whether the customer's monthly fee already includes this cost. And it's also important to know the object which the cost is related to. For example, if you go to maintenance, the mileage is also recorded, and then later on we can match it with the VIN and the number plate. And on the e-invoices, this information exists. Most of the suppliers already use this information. We can follow the mileage of each car, and we can also know which fuel cards were used to fill up. Now, talking about digitization, it has to be that has to be kind of a benchmark for validation. With invoice entries, it's quite easy. The amount, the quantity equals total, that's fine. But other figures on the invoice, for example, mileage, is a different question. Sometimes you can see that it's millions. It's not only that the artificial intelligence can make mistakes, but also people, they maybe entered this data wrong. So we cannot approve or verify a smaller mileage than it was before, or a bigger mileage if we don't see that it could be realistic. Now, once the data has been read and consolidated into our system, then it's the first time when the system automatically processes this data. So over years, the system has used the rules and has learned to classify the costs and also link it to particular vehicles. So this is the first image that our clients see when they log in to our system. On the right-hand side, the client can check based on what the system decides whether this is a chargeable forward cost or not. What does it depend on? It depends on the type of the contract, whether the contract is active or terminated, what are the terms and conditions, and how the service was provided. So on the right-hand side, you can see that there has been an accident, but the monthly fee already covers everything related to insurance, so that's it. The next two examples are about car wash. For one case, it says that the contract has been already terminated. The other, the contract is active and the service is not included in the monthly fee. And also the fourth example, there had been some maintenance or diagnostic works done, and this cost will not be forwarded to the customer. Our objective is not necessarily to have 100% automation. We would like the machine to work with routine processes and issues, and people work with exceptions. For example, if we have a new supplier or we have a cost entry which the AI does not recognize. In our technical team, we have already had successful tests, and we know that it can already be integrated into the system, that the costs can be categorized by the machine, by AI as well. But it's very important that all the corrections, all the changes that a human does, AI will learn it and the system will automatically solve a similar issue next time by itself. So it means that the automation grows in time. Now, we are ready to send the sales invoice to the client. And we want to send it in a way that the user prefers. Some clients who have a huge fleet of cars, they want consolidated invoice, while others want to be able to separate rental costs from other costs. Others perhaps want to divide their invoices by projects, by departments, by tenders. And all these formats must be available by us, made available by us. And also the formats, file formats, whether it's PDF or Excel or something else. And we must be able to send out the invoices by email or by or as e-invoices. So the objective is not to write software, to code as much as possible. Rather, we want to create the processes in a way that they are scalable, able to process a lot of data and be fast. And for us, a well-designed process is a process where the cost entry will appear on the sales invoice automatically, and we can be sure that it is accurate. And it would be perfect if, when entering into a contract with the customer, could agree on everything so that during the use of our cars they would not have any unexpected costs or surprises. And I think that what defines brilliant IT is not more software, but a better functioning business. So, thank you. Thank you for listening. I'm ready to answer your questions if you have any.
Aitäh, Tannar. Oli väga selline sisukas ettekanne. Küsimusi on tulnud. Tule siia mulle lähemale. Pildis. Nii, ma hakkan siis
Come a few steps closer, please, and let's start with the questions. Someone said, okay, 5,000 cars, 1,500 insurance cases, so what's the problem? One driver out of 3. No. The fact is, the more vehicles you have on the road, the more accidents might happen. You might not be responsible for the accident. And even if you have a windscreen issue, it's an insurance case. It doesn't mean that it's a traffic accident. Okay, that explains things. Now, should you change your processes so that you could grow to be twice as big without recruiting new people? Well, the way Mobire is now, we didn't design it 2 or 3 years ago. Especially in Latvia and Lithuania, it's very good that they are now coming with the e-invoices because this means we can automate things. If we take the human aspect out of the system, it improves our work because it makes it faster and it also frees people to do something else. So this is what we could use. Now, talking about people, do people usually are afraid of or welcome automation? Well, that's a brilliant question. Yes, we have also come from a situation where people were afraid of automation and now are asking for it. With cars, the numbers are not that big. As long as people can have control over their work or data, they want to do it. They don't want anyone to change the data after them. People want to be the ones who take the final decisions. But actually, if the volume grows, and if the volume is huge, and you cannot, just by looking at the data, find the errors, then it tells you that you need automation. Okay, I saw 3 accountants from Mobire here recently, so apparently you have good relations with your accountants. They are here to support you. Okay, but before all the interfaces and systems were in place, what was most worrying for you? Well, we were thinking about the time when we didn't have e-invoices yet. You know, the tens of thousands of entries on the invoice. We had them printed out, hard copies. We had to go through them, circling the costs that will be forwarded to the customer and whatnot. And there was a lot of human work going into this, piles of documents created, lifted from one table to another, many delays. And quite often people just felt that they were doing routine things that didn't offer them anything. Okay, there are no more questions in WorkSap, but I have a question. You never mentioned that you are a client of us. You use standard ERP.
Excellent Books on siis see, mida enamik
So Excellent Books is something that most of you use in Estonia, but something similar, Excellent Books, is available elsewhere, standard ERP. So ERP and API. You also use API. What for? Yes, indeed. With Excellent, we have only used one accounting software or business software rather. It's Excellent, and we have used it for 15 years. I remember when I opened the import-export formats description. It's more than 800 pages, and every word counts. And as a developer, I thought, okay, it was the mentality of API first. Today it's perhaps self-explanatory, but back then it was very impressive to see that this company, that Excellent, was so API-focused. Because we know that AI is coming and there's more pressure on writing new data system. We did start the manual file transfers today. We have the automatic invoice generation, client generation in place, just to make sure that things are automated. Okay, talking about API, as a project manager, I work with it a lot. We have several inquiries every week about how to make the interfaces. You said that years ago it was perhaps very knowledgeable clients who knew what to ask for, but today most clients know it. Yes, of course. And another thing is that these 800 pages that I mentioned, what it also showed us was that no matter how Mobire is growing or developing, it's still likely that we can integrate with Excellent also in the future. So you had this kind of sense of safety there. Okay, many thanks. We are also running out of time. No more questions. Thank you for your presentation. Best of luck.